Eli had been driving for so long that the road no longer felt like pavement. It felt like a place he lived. His van had become a tiny, wandering world of warm blankets, half-empty coffee cups, and the echo of a life he'd walked away from. 3 months of drifting since the breakup. 3 months trying to pretend he wasn't the one who ruined everything. He and Lena had ended things over small irritations, dirty dishes, mismatched schedules, a careless comment during a bad week. None of it should have mattered, yet one night it snowballed into something sharp and final. She told him maybe they needed space. He'd heard rejection instead of fear. The next morning he packed everything he owned into the van, and left town before she woke up. Freedom felt like punishment. He crossed states without purpose, chasing new horizons to avoid the one thing he actually wanted, to go home. By the time he reached a small Kansas town, more green silos and people, he barely knew what day it was. That was when he saw the old man. Eli had slowed to look for a place to sleep when he spotted him limping along his shoulder, leaning on a crooked walking stick, face tight with pain. Eli pulled over instinctively. "You need help, sir?" he called through the window. The old man paused, sizing him up. "Twisted my ankle this morning. Usually walk fine, but today's being stubborn. Want a ride?" Eli offered. The man raised a brow. "You a serial killer?" "Not on Saturdays." That earned a laugh. "Name's Walter," he said, accepting Eli's hand as he climbed into the passenger seat. "If you don't mind, just take me up the hill. Cemetery's where I'm headed." Eli nodded and started the engine. They drove the quiet streets lined with shutter shops and weather-worn signs. The kind of town where nothing changed, except the paint peeling a little more each year. After a minute, Walter spoke. "You ain't from around here." "Drifting through," Eli answered. "Heading somewhere or away from somewhere?" Eli hesitated. "Away, I guess." Walter nodded softly, as if he expected the answer. "Running from the girl you mentioned earlier." Eli blinked. "How do you know that?" "Son, when a man looks like his heart's been taken out and put somewhere he can't reach, it's almost always a woman." Eli gave a humorless laugh. "Yeah, we broke up. My fault. I walked away before we could try to fix things." "You still love her?" Eli swallowed. "Yeah." Walter sighed through his nose, the sound carrying decades. "Then listen to an old fool. I did the same thing once. Might as well tell you the story while we drive." "Please," Eli said quietly. "I met Margaret in '67, Walter began, leaning back as the van climbed the hill. Summer fair, Ferris wheel, cotton candy. Pretty as a painting. I damn near broke my neck pretending not to stare. Worked up the courage to ask if she'd ride with me. She said only if I didn't drop a cotton candy. That's how it started." He smiled faintly, watching the memories play out through the windshield. "We had our whole lives planned. Wedding, house, kids. Youth makes you believe the world will obey your plans. Then the draft letter came. Vietnam." Eli glanced over. Walter's expression was steady, but his hands clenched subtly on his knee. "She said she'd wait for me, no matter how long it took. I believed it. But then the fear hit, not of war, of her wasting her life if I didn't come back. I thought letting her go would free her from that hardship. So I lied. Told her I didn't love her the way she loved me. Told her we were too young. Told her it was over." Walter exhaled slowly, voice low. "Worst thing I ever did." They rode to the top of the hill, but Walter motioned for Eli to keep driving the small loop around the cemetery. "When I got back, miraculously alive, the first thing I did was go to her house. She wasn't there, but across the street, she was walking with another man, laughing, holding his hand. And that was that. She moved on. I made damn sure she never knew the truth, that I was doing her a kindness." He shook his head. "I built a new life, married another woman, kids, happiness, in a different shape. But part of me always stayed in 1967 with Margaret. My marriage didn't last, kids grew up. I got old." He paused, voice warming. "Then one day, in summer of 2009, I'm in the grocery store looking at peaches, and there she is, Margaret. Gray hair, gentle smile, still the girl from the Ferris wheel. My heart damn near stopped. I dropped every peach in my hands like a fool." Eli couldn't help smiling. "I told her everything, 30 years late. Told her about the draft, a lie, how I walked away after seeing her with that man. I apologized until I ran out of breath. She didn't speak, just held my face and hugged me. That was all she needed to say." His gaze drifted to a headstone near a maple tree as they passed it. "We spent the rest of our lives together. Small, quiet, beautiful years. No wasted time. Every morning felt borrowed from the life we should have had. He swallowed hard. But cancer took her fast. Too fast to argue with. Come here every week. Tell her things. Thank her for coming back to me. Even after all I ruined. The van rolled to a stop. That's her, Walter whispered. They got out together, walking slowly toward the grave. The stone was simple. Margaret Louise Price, surrounded by fresh flowers, a few tokens, a ribbon pinned neatly to the base. Walter rested his hand gently on the stone. Hi, sweetheart, he murmured, a private warmth in his tone. He stood there a long time, whispering words only she could hear. Eli stepped back, giving him space. Something about the moment felt sacred. After several minutes, Walter turned to him. Eli, he said softly, don't make my mistake. Don't wait until life forces your hand. If you love that girl, go back. Tell her everything, even if she turns you away. You'll know you tried, but don't leave her behind, just because you're scared. Eli nodded, emotion tightening in his chest. Walter patted his arm. Thank you for the ride. My granddaughter's picking me up. So you go on now. You sure? Eli asked. I am, Walter smiled. I got what I needed today. He returned to the grave, touching the stone again with gentle fingers. Eli watched for a moment, then walked back to the van. Inside the van, everything felt different. It wasn't a refuge anymore. It was a pause button he held down too long. He started the engine, stared at the split in the road, west toward more running, east toward Lena. But Walter's story echoed in his mind. Time is a thief. Don't help it rob you. Eli turned east. As the town disappeared behind him, felt something shift. Fear, yes, but also clarity. He pictured Lena sitting on the couch in their tiny apartment, hair pulled up, flipping through her calendar with a highlighter tucked behind her ear. He pictured the way she smiled without meaning to. He'd walk in after a long shift. He pictured how her voice broke during the last argument. He had been a coward, Walter had said it kindly, but truth doesn't soften just because it's gentle. Hours passed. Sky deepened into indigo, stars trailing like sparks across the darkness. Each mile felt like a promise he was relearning how to make. By the time the familiar landmarks returned, billboards, rest stops, old roads he could navigate with his eyes closed, Eli felt his heart pounding, not from fear, but from something like hope. He didn't know what Lena would say. Maybe she'd shut the door, maybe she'd cry, maybe she'd forgive him. But Walter was right. The only real mistake was staying silent. As he turned onto her street, he whispered the words aloud, letting them take shape for the first time. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I love you. If there's anything left, please let me try again. He pulled up outside her building, got the engine, and sat for a moment, breathing, studying, choosing. Then he opened the door and walked toward whatever future waited. This time, he wasn't running. This time, he was going home.